Hi guys. So I just wanted to explain to you all how at the end of the month we decide what money is going onto our debt and what money is going to stay into our account because obviously we have bills moving forward in the next month. So our goal at the beginning of every month is to have our reoccurring payments paid on the first day of the month. So we have three major utility bills. We have our mortgage, we have our internet, and we have our power. And those things come out every single month, and they're basically the exact same price. And so we have a separate bills account that is connected to both of us at our bank that we transfer money from our personal accounts into every month. So we have a set number. Every month I put $358. Every month Randy puts $642 into that account. And that's because I'm paying some other bills like the insurance for our cars and things like that. So to even things out, he puts more into the bills account, but that's not really the point. So the first of every month, I always put those exact numbers into our bills account so that we know for the entire month our bills are paid. So we don't have to worry about that. The only other payments that are coming out of our accounts are our automatic loan payments. So I have a car that comes out twice a month, and he has a consolidated loan that comes out twice a month. So that is considered a part of our budget. And otherwise, we're just making payments on our debt. We're buying gas and we're buying groceries. And that's pretty much it. I'm not even joking, guys. Other than our bills, I don't spend money on anything other than gas and food. I do treat myself to an ice cap every week, and if we're able to save money on our grocery bill, for the first couple of weeks of the month, we'll go out for supper at a restaurant. But otherwise, we don't spend any other money. We don't have TV. We have a Netflix subscription that my mom pays for. And so we have really downed our spending completely other than surviving. So at the very last week of the month, I'll just explain myself because Randy's a bit different. I get paid multiple ways. So I have a full-time job. No, I don't. I have a part-time job that I get paid for bi-weekly, and that attributes to probably half of my income every month. That's my non-for-profit, so I get paid twice a month with that. I also get paid weekly for my Beachbody income, and otherwise I get paid in bulk for my work through the month at the end of the month. So the very last day of the month, I have three different payments coming in for the month. And then throughout the month, I have two other families that I do respite for. They pay me at the end of every session. So I might do 2 or 3 sessions with one client that I'll get paid for, and I might do 6 to 8 sessions with the other client that I get paid for. So that money immediately goes into my savings account, or if they pay me cash, it goes into an envelope. I write down exactly what I made this money on, so that I know at the end of the month. But the last day of the month, I get a bulk payment, which is basically half my income from one client because I work with him 30 hours a week. I also get a monthly income from a group of kids that I travel to program every day, and I get a monthly income from my parents because I work part-time at their business. So I get 3 major bulk incomes at the very end of the month. That way, it doesn't really matter, but it's nice because it immediately gets allocated. So at the end of the month, I sit down and I take in all those transfers. They're mostly e-transfers. And I count up the cash that I have for the month, and I decide how much money is in my bank account completely with all of that money, all of my cash, and all the money that I have in my bank account that I didn't spend during the week. So that could be the money that I saved on groceries or the money that I didn't spend on gas that I thought I was going to spend on gas. Literally, I just take the total of my bank account and I write it down. I take the total of the transfers coming in, I write that down, and I take the total of the cash that I have and I write that down. That is the total I have going into the first day of the month. So once I have that total, I find out when my next bi-weekly paycheck is. So it's usually either the first Wednesday or the second Wednesday of the month. And that tells me how many days I have to make it before I have more money in my bank account. So this month, I just figured out February, obviously at the end of January, and my first paycheck came in on the 5th. I got paid on the 5th. So that meant I had to make it 5 days into the month before I got my next $700 into my bank account. So I go through my statement for the month before. I use my debit card for everything just because I find it easier to track everything. And so I knew that I was going to have my first car loan payment come out of $134. I knew I was buying groceries that weekend, so I had to have at least $67.50 for groceries. I knew I was going to fill up my car at least once, so I always put twice, $40 times 2, which is $80. And I knew that my dog food, I had to go buy dog food for Roxy. So those were the 5 things that I knew I was going to be doing before the 5th. That was 5 days, and that's all I was going to spend money on. And so I found that number. It was probably like $300 or $400, and I always add an extra 100 to be safe in case of emergencies. And honest to goodness, every other penny of my income, I think I had over $1,000 in my bank account at the end of the month. Oh, almost $2,000 at the end of the month because I get a big $1,100 income at the end of the month. So I probably had $2,000 to allocate, and I put probably $450 left in my checkings account, and everything else was moved out. I put $1,800 on my credit card. I usually aim for $1,650. That's my goal, but whatever extra I had, I put on it, so it ended up being $1,800. I put the minimum payment on my student line of credit, and I knew that the first car payment was going to be covered in that $400 for the first 5 days of a month. So that's what I do at the end of every month. And then once the 5th came, I knew that I'd have 2 more weeks to have, I won't spend $700 in 2 weeks, but I know that. And so if you have a consistent income and you can pretty much guarantee what you're going to pay, then it's really easy to allocate money. And I don't allocate money towards debt in the middle of the month. I only ever do it at the end of the month because I get pretty much all of my income at the end of the month. And so if you feel like you're concerned that you're going to spend it on stupid shit, you could sit down every 2 weeks when you get your paycheck, or every week when you get that paycheck, and decide, okay, in the next week, from the 5th to the 15th of every month, what automatic payments come out? I need that much money. How many times am I going to fill up my gas tank? How many times am I going to go to the grocery store? Do I have any appointments that I'm going to have to pay for? Do I have any events that I'm going to have to go to? Allocate your money before you spend it. So if I know I only have $400 and $350 of that is automatically coming out of my bank account for bills, gas, or food, I'm not going to be spending any money because I know I'm going to run out. And that's how my mind works. And so if you don't feel like you have control over yourself, literally don't put any money in your bank account. Get rid of it. Put it on your debt. Put it into a savings account that your debit card isn't connected to so that if you do need it, you can pull it out. But I find to get rid of my money as quickly as possible is the best option for me. It just works that I do it monthly rather than bi-weekly or weekly, but that works for me. And so I do the same thing for Randy. He has a specific amount of money to make it until the 14th, which is next Friday, which accounts for all the bills coming out of his account, the groceries and the gas that he's going to need, and he knows that he needs to have a chiropractor appointment. He went for his haircut yesterday, and he was going to buy some parts for his business, or he's a heavy-duty mechanic, so he had to buy tools. So all of that money was allotted for it and left in his bank account, and everything else was put on debt. And so January, we were able to put, this is the fun fact, we were able to put $4,300 on our debt, which is crazy. I got a lot of extra work in January, and I upped my income. Randy doubled his income in January because he was working so many overtime hours, and he was working in extra places, and he really just dug in. And so that's really exciting for us because by the end of February, I should have my credit card paid off, and I should have my student line of credit paid off, and he should have his half of the student line credit paid off. So we literally just have my car and his consolidated loan left to pay off. They're big, so they're going to take a while, but the minimum payments from my credit card and from my student line of credit are going to go on top of my card payment, as well as all the other extra money that I come in. So it's going to go quicker because every time you get rid of a loan or a debt, the minimum payments for those get added on to the next one. So you accelerate your progress so quick. And like I said in my memo, I have decided to cash out a tax-free savings account that I invested in when I was in high school and had a bunch of money. So smart, Emily. Good job, 16-year-old Emily. And so I thought it was in RSP, which is taxed when you take it out, and there's an early withdrawal fee, so I would have lost a lot of that money. But apparently my investor thought a 16-year-old should be investing into a tax-free savings account, so go him. He rocked that idea because I was able to take it out. No tax and no penalty fees for taking it out. So I literally have enough money to pay off my credit card and my student line of credit this month, which is really, really exciting. And it wasn't something that I was expecting, but it works. So that is how we determine the money that we need for the month. And then at the end of the month, every extra dollar goes onto our debt. And it's working really well so far. So if you have any questions, let me know.